Welcome back to Hannity. We continue with 2016 Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. Not a good week for Hillary Clinton. She lost Alaska 82-18. She lost Washington State 73-27. She lost to Bernie Sanders Hawaii 70-30. And the FBI will now have an interview with Hillary and her top aides. You have been saying all along you don't think she's going to make it, or if she makes it. Does this give you reason to think now that it's unlikely she makes it?
Well, I just don't know if she's going to make it. She's got a very big problem. I think actually a bigger problem than Bernie is what's going on with the FBI. They're straight shooters, and we'll see what happens. But she's also got a problem with Bernie. She had a very bad weekend in terms of numbers and in terms of votes. But I think she's going to make that. I don't know that she's going to make the email scandal, but you would think that if they would have done something, it would have been done already. I would imagine she's being protected, and that's pretty sad in terms of being an American. It's pretty sad. So we'll see what happens. I just don't know. I'm not even thinking about her right now. I'm thinking about two final people, and I'm thinking about beating them, and I'm thinking about winning in Wisconsin, where you have a place that really I'm doing very well in, where I have so many different friends, and I think that we're going to do very well here.
What about the president this week actually saying, in spite of his national director of intelligence, his FBI director, his assistant FBI director, his envoy to defeat ISIS, and many others in the intelligence world saying, don't take these people in because ISIS will infiltrate that population like they did in Paris and like they did in Brussels. But yet the president's now wanting to take in more. What should the response be? Should Republicans now, I know Congressman Babin of Texas has put forward a bill to stop it. Don't you think Republicans ought to take a stand here?
Well, when I said we have to, on a temporary basis, stop Muslims from coming in and be very vigilant and very careful, I was met with tremendous furor. And now a lot of people are saying, oh, that's what I said. You know, Ted Cruz and some of these people that can't think for themselves, they're now saying, well, you know, they're getting a little tougher all of a sudden. Same thing with the wall. When I said the wall, you know this better than everybody laughed. Now everybody wants to build the wall. When I say everybody, a lot of people want to build it. All of a sudden you're hearing about we're going to build a wall. So I would say this. We have people that don't know what they're doing. We have one that doesn't know what he's doing. He happens to be sitting in the White House. He doesn't even want to mention the words radical Islamic terrorism, which are so obvious to anybody. I mean, not only obvious, it's not even a question of obvious, they're fact. And why he won't say the word, someday maybe he'll explain it, because nobody gets it. And unless you're going to define a problem, you're never going to solve it. We have to solve that problem. It's one of the great problems right now worldwide, and it's got to be solved, and it's got to be solved quickly.
You know, what's scary to me is that the president, seemingly, by ignoring those intelligence officials that are warning him, he seems willing to gamble with the lives of Americans. But yet you and others that are willing to speak out, including myself, we come under fire. But meanwhile, it's the president opening the door for Paris or Brussels here. Why doesn't anyone ask him about his willingness to gamble with the lives of the American people?
Well, we're going to have some very horrendous times here. And, you know, just like I predicted Brussels, and I predicted many things, and you know that probably better than anybody, but we're going to have some bad times here. We're weak. We're soft, we're not vigilant, we're just not doing the job, Sean. We're not doing the job. And we have a leader that doesn't either get it or for some reason beyond anybody's comprehension, he doesn't want to get it, all right? He doesn't want to get it. Somebody ought to sit down with him and say, what's going on? Because we're taking people in, we have no idea who they are, where they come from the Middle East, from so-called Syria, perhaps, and they could be ISIS, they could be ISIS-related. And similar things are happening in Europe. You look at what's going on in Germany with the crime. You look at what's happening in a small section of Sweden where they've loaded up, and you look at what's going on there. You take a look at what's going on in Europe, and we're going to have it far worse than Europe ever had it, and we're taking in a lot more. Do you remember when we were arguing about numbers, and I said the numbers are going to be higher? I was right about that, too. We're taking in a lot more than anybody would have said possible, and it's just insane.
What do you make? I had a big fight on this program. I'm not sure if you saw it with Jorge Ramos over the issue. He acts like he's a big objective reporter. He's not objective. He's open borders. He supports legalization for the people who didn't respect our laws and sovereignty. And then he tries to claim he's an objective reporter. And it basically was over him taking words you have said out of context, because you didn't say all Mexicans are rapists or all Mexicans are rapists. or murderers. And so he takes these things out of context. Is that just going to be par for the course? That's just the Democratic playbook? That's the media playbook? Republicans, racist, sexist, want to poison the air, water, and kill grandma? And isn't it time that narrative gets called out?
Yeah, I watch as I'm constantly being misquoted, and purposely. They know exactly what they're doing, and it's purposely. And I watched him, and I did happen to see him on the show, and it's so unfair. And, you know, you want to say he knows better than that, and he does know better than that. He's doing his thing. It's a disgrace. But I'll tell you what, I won the state of Nevada, and when we came out and they came out, the Hispanics were there in droves, and they were voting for Trump. You saw that poll. They were there in droves. And in South Carolina and in many states where they did polls, I win with the Hispanics. So I can only tell you this. I think we're going to do great with the Hispanics. I think we're going to do fantastically with the African Americans. We're going to bring jobs back to this country. We're going to get people much better salary. You know, people that have been working, Sean, for 12 years, 14 years, you know, they're making less money now than they made 12 years ago and even 14 years ago. They're making less money now in terms of real dollars, and really substantially less. We're going to change it. We're going to bring our jobs back. We're going to take them back from China and Mexico and Japan and India and every nation. Vietnam is a new hot one that's taking our jobs. We're going to bring them back, and we're going to start making things again in our country. Believe me, and it's going to happen in Wisconsin, and it's going to happen all over.
You know, I've been saying this on radio and everything, that when both you and Senator Cruz talk about issues, it's better off for everybody, because those are the things that matter the most. So good to talk to you, Mr. Trump, and thanks for being back with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. But remember one thing, Sean, I'm much better on the issues than Senator Cruz. Believe me, he won't be able to do it, but that's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I wasn't taking a side. Don't worry. Anyway, thanks for being with us.